Rampuyani. This is the Global Digest think tank group.
Yeah.
Actually, we know each other a long time. We could not able to meet each other and we could not talk. Just now we can able to talk. I mean, we used to contact with email long time ago.
Yeah.
And one of your article we service in publishing in a magazine. By the way, you are just only a writer or you are also teaching?
I'm a retired teacher. I am president of Center for Study of Society and Secularism and a writer. The Center for Publication, some research, monitoring communal violence, and monitoring communal politics also.
And I know the violence, communal violence in Gujarat, also it's violence against Muslim and also violence in Orissa against Christian religion, a lot of communal violence in India. But after that, I don't know any current communal violence in India and how's going on.
This Orissa violence was 2008.
Right.
And after 2008, there was a violence in Muzaffarnagar. Big violence, I'm saying. Small scattered violence keeps taking place here and there. And after 2013, in Uttar Pradesh, Muzaffarnagar, there was a big violence in Delhi on the issue of CAA related to citizenship of Muslims. So these are the two major violences after that. And the scattered violence means the BJP government has started using bulldozer to demolish the structures, houses, shops, and some mosques of the Muslims. That is a phenomenon which is ongoing. It also keeps attacking the prayer meetings of Christians, which are occurring in different places.
So in India, as you mentioned, there are several violence. It's usually inter-religion conflict or it's mainly political back conflict. How did you find out? Because I don't know exactly what is the main background of the violence.
See, this violence is orchestrated by political forces. The political forces which do politics in the name of religion. Their aim is to polarize the society, and polarization helps them in electoral politics. So it is a violence in the name of religion, but it leads to strengthening. It leads to strengthening of the communal forces, the religious nationalists, the Hindu majoritarian forces. The violence strengthens the Hindu majoritarian political tendencies.
I see. So you can say violence in India usually the main backbone is political, electoral politics, something like that.
Yeah, and also behind that the agenda of Hindu nation. See, the main reason for violence is that the sectarian political forces, they want to build Hindu nation. See, our constitution mandates us to be a secular nation, inclusive, democratic, and plural. So this violence is orchestrated mainly for Hindu nation, to build a Hindu nation, much against the dictates or the teachings of our constitution.
Right. So India is various community and various religion coexisted. And how can you make statistic probably the Sikh also one of religion, right? So how's other population average percentage? Do you have idea?
Yeah, I can tell you. Hindus are around 79%. Muslims are 79. Muslims are around 14%, 14.2. Christians are 2.3%. Sikhs are around close to around 1%, some plus minus. So these are the major religious groups. And then there is some number of Buddhists, Jains also. So that is a small percentage. And these are the major three communities.
So in the percentage why Hindu is the largest population, and then
Absolutely.
next is Muslim. But in
Yeah.
terms of territory, regional base, I guess like the Northeast country, most Christian
Yeah.
states, and maybe southern part of India also many are Christian state or district. I don't know exactly, but northern. How many state are Christian state in India?
See, northeast states are Christian majority, but the states are very small. States are very small.
Right.
Their population is very small. And
Exclusive
in
state, Christian state.
yeah, not exclusive. There is maximum maybe 80% Christians, 70% Christians, 94% Christian. There are 7 states. So in Assam, for example, Christians are 30%. And in Manipur, it may be 90%. That is the Northeast. So Northeast, there are small states, but major Christian population. While in southern
Right.
states, only Kerala is the state where Christian population is more in number, close to 18 to 20% in Kerala. But no
80.
other state has 18, 18 to 19,
I
1
see.
8, 1 8.
What about Tamil Nadu?
Tamil Nadu also doesn't have much Christian community,
I see.
maybe 3, 4.
Most are
3, 4.
Hindu in Tamil and Kerala.
Yeah, Tamil are majority Hindu, majority Hindu.
I see. So, except for Northeast, there are no majority Christian state, right? Like Mizoram,
Yes,
also over 90% are Christian state,
correct,
but
correct.
most Northeast state are small state, right? And do you have a majority Muslim state? Maybe Jammu Kashmir is a Hindu
Yes,
majority, Muslim majority?
correct. Jammu Kashmir is 80% Muslims.
I
Then
see.
Assam is 30% Muslims. Uttar Pradesh is 19 to 20% Muslims. So uh, these are the substantial Muslim majority in these states. Kerala also has a good Muslim population, around 20-25%.
Except for Jammu Kashmir, there are no majority Muslim state, right? So it means we can figure out the whole India is state-wise, all are Hindu majority, and central
Yes,
government, central part of country also Hindu majority country. So overwhelmingly Hindu majority in terms of religion. But you said constitution doesn't allow any religion-wise state building. It should be secular state,
yes,
secular
yes.
country, India, right? So each mean the violence is mainly provoked by electoral politic issue. You can say like that.
Yeah, violence is mainly promoted by this Hindu nationalist BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party. That's the main party, and its controlling organization is called RSS, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, National Volunteers Corps, and they are the one which spread a lot of misconceptions, leading to hatred, and in turn creating a ground for violence. So that's the main reason.
How's the politics and communalism nowadays?
Yeah. Now see what happened during last 10 years. BJP was ruling in Delhi, central government. So it has laid the foundation of communalism very strongly. So the acts of communalism, communal violence. So violence is one, communal politics is another. So acts of violence, I told you, the major was in Delhi 4 or 5 years ago. and scattered violence is there. It has increased. But what is happening lately, the opposition parties are coming together and they are trying to put up a united front against this Hindu majoritarian party, BJP. So in the future, if BJP can be defeated in the next elections, probably communal violence will come down. It's quite likely that society will become free from communal violence in the coming times, in case they are able to defeat BJP in the next elections.
So you point out whenever BJP's power, the violence is increasing, and if the BJP's power, the violence is decreasing. Your measuring, you find out like that. So violence means usually mass killing or destroying property, or what kind of violence usually happen?
See, violence is of two, three types. One is the mass killing. Second is the rape of the women from the minority community. Third is a destruction of the property of minorities. And lately to this has been added the bulldozer to destroy their property. So these are the four main things. This leads to a lot of displacement, and rehabilitation measures are not much. So it leaves a big section of community helpless without any means to survive properly. Currently, what is going on is the violence in Manipur, where the major victims are the Kuki population. So this again, Manipur violence is mainly around the resources and undermining. So this is the current violence which is going on from last 9 months, unattended by the central government in any way.
I see. So in India society, uh, rape and sexual issue is house perception.
The current perception about rape is fairly broad because we had one major event of Nirbhaya rape case, I think 12 years ago. After that, the definition of rape was broadened, not just the penetrative sex, but even other aspects got included into the definition of rape. And rape is a major weapon in the hands of communal forces. So, and rape is one of the major components of communal violence in India. In Kandhamal, Orissa, what you were referring, again, rape was a major weapon. And even Delhi, we saw the same horrible situation. In addition, there are scattered acts of rape around, around communal divides. So that also one sees rape as a major weapon.
I see.
In India, in our definition, any sort of violation of the modesty of the women is coming under the definition of rape. That is after Nirbhaya rape case. That is. So such type of rape, which you are saying group rapes, that generally happens in the mass communal violence, not as a scattered event. In scattered events, some of the very powerful politicians from the communal group, they do indulge in primarily they do indulge in harassment of women, the sexual exploitation of women. But that's a separate phenomenon. That is not a part of communal violence. That's a part of communal politics and communal intimidation of the religious minorities.
Right. So in India, you can say any group sex or group sexual is not acceptable.
No, not acceptable. Legally, it is not acceptable. And generally, it accompanies the major communal violence. As such, scattered events of this may not happen much, except when the mass communal violence is going on. See, I think at those times, more of that is of an individual nature. group of men against a single woman. That type of cases will happen. But a group of men and a single woman, that type of cases we will see, but not a group of women as such. A group of males will try to attack a single woman. That type of things we will observe. That type of a group thing we will observe. The victim is an individual. The offenders may be a group, but victim is generally an individual.
Yeah.
In the office schools or even in the other parts of the community, the victim is an individual and offenders may be a group. There is a strong reaction against such incidents in the mass of the people.
Again, underage, children and father and daughter and son and mother.
Occasionally they are reported. Father cannot give the consent for the daughter, and generally in such cases, fathers are punished heavily.
That's also considered violence.
Of course.
Sexual.
Father's consent is not acceptable. Father himself is supposed to be guilty, punished as per the laws. See, if there is a consent by lady, then obviously it's a mutual affair. But if the lady is not consenting, then it's a crime to be punished as per the law. It is then considered as a rape, and full punishment is given if there is no consent from the lady.
Because it's important to know social system background and legal background in the country to prevent any communal or violence, either politic or anything, because social context also necessary to understand, right? So if there are any different social context, social background, those sexual issue and any community culture issue between Muslim and Hindu in different India society.
See, that is like in a free society, these things happen. There is no question of Hindu Muslims being separately targeted. But Hindu majoritarian forces, they propagate it as a sort of a love jihad. Love jihad. If the woman is a Hindu girl, then the Hindu majoritarian groups propagate it as a love jihad, and that they try to stop that relationship. They try to intimidate the couple, even if they are the consenting adults. Then Hindu majoritarian groups, they try to attack them, try to separate them, and try to even beat them up.
So how is domestic system to prevent and to punish those kind of violence, sexual violence and communal violence?
Domestic system is very much within the norms of a family. So if within the family, somebody violates the norms and forcibly imposes oneself upon the other, that is taken as a crime to be punished by the usual laws. There is no extra protection for if it happens within the family. Within the family also, it's a crime if it is against the wishes of the partner.
So how is law enforcement in India? Is all this communal violence and all this sexual violence, they effectively implemented by law enforcement in India? How's your satisfactory?
Two things. In the communal violence case, it is not effected satisfactorily. Generally, the guilty are not punished. The state machinery, the police machinery, they are very soft towards the culprits of the communal violence, the offenders of the communal crimes. But in case of other things like family rape, office rape, school rape, then I think the system has its own inbuilt provisions for punishing the guilty. So these are two separate things. The real problem is the communal one, and in communal one, the law is not strong enough. Law is not implemented. Laws are strong, but they are not implemented by the machinery properly. While in non-communal incidents of this type, The law fairly is effective and the machinery implements it properly.
Probably communal issue is more, political related, as you mentioned, because they are provocative about politics. So communal are not effectively law enforcement and
Correct.
no action taken by the government. Is like that.
You're right, absolutely right. I conveyed it correctly. In cases of communal violence and communal violations of sexual offences also, the implementing machinery is soft and it lapses. It doesn't do its job properly. But in other cases, it's a proper thing which generally goes on.
So, so in India, is there a lot of NGO to protect or prevent communal and communal violence and sexual violence? Is sufficient NGO and organization apart from government machinery?
There are, there are two things. One is in this communal violence. So there are many NGOs which try to work on promoting peace, harmony, amity. But last 10 years, what has happened, their funding has been reduced. Their funding has been stifled. And the effect of the NGOs in social arena has been drastically dwindled because of the government policy, because the government itself is communal. It doesn't want NGOs to work in the area of communal harmony. As far as the sexual offences are concerned, there are various women's groups which are doing their job. Now, we should not mix it up. Communal groups working for communal harmony are one, groups working against violence against women are another. So groups working against violence against women, they are fairly doing their job all right. They are good in number, they are substantial in this thing, and they are doing their job fairly okay within the reasonable limits.
So India NGO, they usually relies on government funding.
No, government is not funding much of these NGOs promoting communal harmony. Government is mainly promoting groups which are uh, which are out to create hatred because this is a BJP government. BJP wants Hindu nationalists, so it promotes only those NGOs which are talking of Hindu nationalism, which spread hatred against Muslims and Christians. And as far as the other NGOs are concerned, working for protection of women's modesty and women's dignity, those some of those NGOs may be getting some support from this government. I'm not very sure of that, the extent of their support they get from the government.
So apart from domestic NGO, do you have international NGO in India? They operate in such prevention and protection about communal violence and sexual violence. You have a lot of INGO.
Yeah, there are some NGOs, but I think their effectivity has reduced in the last 10 years, like Amnesty International, Oxfam, actually, there are some of the well-known NGOs. But during last 10 years, their effectivity in preventing criminal violence has decreased for one because of government restrictions. Now, sexual thing I'll keep separately. That is not a totally similar to what communal harmony is. Communal harmony has been snubbed. But as far as sexual thing is concerned, those NGOs have their own logic and they have their own area of work, which uh, which is going on. Which is going on.
Let's see. So it's decline in domestic NGO and also international NGO. It's very unsatisfactory about NGO working on communal violence in India. In as you just said, violence, communal violence, uh, it's similar to international category like terrorism. We can equally define communal violence in India as terrorism. It's similar in India, or how can you compare it?
The communal incidents and terrorist incidents were very different. Communal incidents are definitely because of spreading of hatred by the majoritarian politics, while terrorist groups, terrorist actions are planned in secret. So India saw a lot of those terrorist attacks which were funded from Pakistani groups, and many other violences took place between 2006 to 2008. But after 2008, we didn't see much of the terrorist violence taking place, while communal violence is going on. So these are two separate things. They don't overlap. I don't know whether they. I don't think they can be compared to American situation. In American situation, I think terrorism is a major thing, while this type of a communal violence you won't see much. Now, Christian fundamentalism is rising in America also, but it has not reached a state where violence will take place the way it has been taking place in the post-colonial society in India in particular.
In the US, white supremacy, they are attacking other non-white population. Nowadays, police mention them as a terrorist group as well. So I'm thinking it might be Hindu majority attacking other group. It might be similar with white supremacy. It's in
Uh,
you consider them as terrorists too. They are two terrorists.
yeah, usually they can use the word terrorism, but by and large, these are two distinct phenomena. Communal violence is a different thing which can be seen transparently. Who is instigating it? What is the ideology behind it? What are the political forces behind it? What are the individuals behind it? And what is their motive in a particular case? But in terrorist case, it is a very secretive affair. It is planned by some group of secret people. So that I think sometimes police may loosely use the word terrorist for minority group involved in the violence or the victim of the violence. They may use it loosely, but that doesn't fit into the definition particularly.
So in India case is different from American case, right?
Very, very much.
You consider communal violence is more appropriate in India case,
Absolutely, absolutely.
since we know all this communal and violence in India politics. How do you see how can make India and region neighboring of India more harmony and peace? Do you have idea, or did you make any suggestion, any discussion?
See, I think first and foremost is that this communal outfits, they have spread a lot of misconceptions against religious minorities. Against Muslim kings, they have spread, they destroyed our temples, they converted people by force, they are big families, they are terrorists. So these misconceptions are the foundation of the communal violence. Against Christians, they have also spread that Christian missionaries are converting by force, fraud, and allurement. So these are the major misconceptions which are percolated in the society by Hindu majoritarian groups. So there is a need for a big effort to reach the truth to the people by creating a lot of social media, proper media, community centers which promote peace. They are the foundation. Number one, how social awareness affects the communal violence is very simple. Second is that since there is a lot of hatred between diverse communities, so efforts have to be to bring them together in common programs, social programs, religious programs, so to bring them together. And third is that politically to weaken the communal party. The communal party, which is ascending through multiple mechanisms, that has to be weakened so that the proper values of our freedom movement. The freedom movement was great, with all the best values. Our constitution is brilliant. So we need to restore the values of our constitution and the values of our freedom movement. That is the thing which can counter the communal violence in times to come.
Thank you, Ram Puniyani, for today's discussion. I hope India will be improving, and I guess you can have a better election in this coming election, and it will be hopefully better communal harmony, peace, India and neighbor countries.